All right, you can go.
This is cool. Well, welcome to this evening's septuagenarian birthday celebration. It's a kickoff. My name is Carol McSween Brooks, and I'm glad you all got the chance to introduce everybody. I and Virginia Olney are on the co-host for this, along with Janet Goldberg, and Virginia and I are on Brandy's campaign committee, and Janet is one of our newest engaging volunteers for the campaign. So we're excited to all three be here for this. And so I know I introduced this as the septuagenarian birthday celebration kickoff. So why is this a celebration of seniors this time? Well, 72 happens to be a very interesting year for both Virginia and I. We celebrated our birthdays, as you may have seen on the intro or the mobilized thing, on the 2nd of March, and we'll celebrate again for Virginia on the 28th of June. With this in mind, we are very diligent and strong supporters of Brandy's campaign. And so we know the importance of getting involved and getting the word out about building community, especially for this campaign. So we thought, whoa, we've got now until July 19th, because the primary election day has been moved from the 28th to the July 19th. We've got a little bit more time now to schedule some meet and greets so that we can get the word out about Brandy. And so in getting the word out about Brandy, again, we're having this meet and greet. First topic, as Trupti said, was seniors and civic engagement. And I want you to feel free to put your comments in the chat. Let's see, also, if you'll see in the chat, we post information about getting in touch with the campaign and engaging in volunteering as well as donating. And you'll also find other things posted in the chat about how to get in touch with you and work with the campaign. As you do this and listen to what we do tonight, and really have a kickoff time, a celebration of our activism, and hope it's contagious. Think about your most memorable instances of civic engagement and what you might like to see continue when we get Brandy on the county council in Montgomery County. As Michelle said, we'll be recording. Let's see, at the end of the meeting, I just want to let you know we'll want to take a picture of all our great attendees. So we'll let you know when that's happening. So let's get this show on the road with some more great music. I did hear my Temptations with some more great music. And we're going to hear from Virginia and Janet. Virginia, you're going to start us off with telling us why you support Brandy.
All right. Thank you so much, Carol. First of all, I didn't invite any septuagenarians. The closest I get to it is my younger sister, Rosemary. And she is not in her 70s. So. But I am passionate about supporting Brandi. I met her in 2018, and when she was running for County Council at Large, and I was impressed about how she puts people first, how she gets personal and understands what constituents want and need. She's professional, she's personable, she'll fight for transit. She'll fight for housing and affordable housing. And that's like a cliche, but she will fight for housing that people in Montgomery County can afford. That's so important. She's also will fight for a living wage, equality for all. And she will be a woman on the Montgomery County Council. And we need the council to look like Montgomery County. And for some reason, we're not getting there. So this term, I decided to actually join Brandy's campaign because I wanted to fight even harder. And I'm bringing all of you that I've invited, and some people who could not make it are going to join me in fighting to get Brandi Brooks elected to the Montgomery County Council at Large. I think that our futures depend on it. We need someone who will fight and will not back down when the issues get tough on the table. And that person is definitely Brandi Brooks. As Carol said, we decided to have this birthday thing, and don't think I'm not bent out of shape about the primary being changed from my birthday on June the 28th to July the 19th, because I was looking for a big celebration. But trust me, we will have a celebration anyway. It just will not, it'll be a birthday celebration. It just won't be the victory party. And I'm excited to have those of you who I invited here. I've seen George, I've seen Penny, I've seen Marilyn, Vince has joined us. And I'm excited that you have taken the time to get to know Brandi the way I have gotten to know Brandi. And I'll stop talking because we want to get this show on the road. And I'm going to kick it to Janet. Janet, you want to jump in here?
Yes, thanks. Thank you, Virginia, and thank you, Carol. I just want to say that since they moved the primary, my birthday is in July, and I will be having my last septuagenarian birthday in July. So I'll be, I don't know, an octogenarian or something after that. Anyhow, I met Brandi through my son-in-law who lives in Philadelphia, who took a leadership, environmental leadership course. Brandi, is that correct? And met Brandi, and when she decided to run for county council, apparently they were talking, and he said, my mother-in-law lives in Montgomery County, and she's a Democrat and politically active. And so he got in touch with me, and he said, you know, check Brandi out. Well, I checked Brandi out, and I was very impressed. Her platform fits in with everything that I believe, but what mostly struck me as an old political operative from the 60s, 70s, and 80s is her integrity and her authenticity and her transparency. And her major issue that resonates with me, having been on the board of many nonprofits, is her ability to take an issue and to measure it up against what her beliefs are and what our beliefs are. And her bottom line is community. We are community, and the people are the community. So that's what impressed me about Brandi. And I put my money where my mouth is. I sent her donation. I volunteered to do this. I have volunteered to do phone banking. Whatever I can do at this point to help this young woman get elected to county council. So as Virginia said, the council will look like us. That's it.
Thank you, Janet.
You're welcome. Now that's exciting. So I don't have anything else to add. I'm just going to say that we need to hear from Brandi. And but I do have a little bit. I'm really glad that Virginia said that she invited others besides septuagenarians. It's interesting to know this is not just about being at this age. It's about before, during, and after. And you'll hear this next when you hear Brandi. Thanks all. Brandi.
Are we kicking it to Brandi or kicking it to Michelle?
Kicking it to Brandi.
I actually think we are kicking it to Michelle to do a little bit of an overview of the race.
Okay.
Michelle, you're still muted.
We're just kicking it all over the place. That's how we do it, right?
Right.
So hi, everyone. I am Michelle Whitaker. I am the campaign manager for Brandi Brooks. If you see a striking similarity to me and Brandi and Carol, we're making this a family affair. Yes, we are related, and we love supporting Brandi, supporting members of our family in any endeavors that they're doing. And one of those is Brandi running for office right now. So let me just share a little bit of background. I hope you can see the screen with the slides here. So Brandi is running for Montgomery County Council at-Large, and she's running under putting people first, which really is focusing on housing for all, environmental justice and transit justice, a thriving economy that works for local businesses and workers, and we'll hear more about that. And as you can see, the most recent endorsements that Brandi has received, the teachers, the Montgomery County Teachers Union has endorsed Brandi. The Metro DC Democratic Socialists of America, and CASA in Action. And we're going to be excited. We think that there's some other endorsements that we'll be announcing soon. So you can check out our Facebook or sign up for our email so that you can get that information of the other endorsements coming down the pipeline. But we're really building a movement of folks who want to talk about those issues. So what is County Council at Large? So here's some background. If you were voted in the 2020 election, then you may have known that we changed both. We did a ballot measure where we were determining whether or not we were going to increase the size of our county council. It's currently 9 members on the council, but it will be 11 members because we've added 2 new districts. So I'm going to show you a map so you can see the district lines, and Trupti is going to pop in the link if you need to figure out where your new district is. But we'll have 11 council members total, 7 are districts, and then the 4 at large. So the at large seats haven't changed, but for folks, you may have a new district member or new district lines that you're looking at. As folks noted, the election is on July 19th. So I've been memorizing June 18th for a while, or June 28th, and now it's July 19th. So make sure that you're marking your calendars, July 19th. But the other thing that's really important, and I hope many of you took advantage of this in the 2020 election, and that we'll do vote by mail. And if you're a Rockville resident, I know you all are the rock stars of vote by mail because you do all vote by mail elections, and kind of were the first city to do that in the state, to go to all vote by mail. So you understand this process of voting by mail, which is a really great way to vote. And regardless of when the election date is, you can request your ballot, fill it out at your home at your convenience, put it in the mail or in a Dropbox location, and make sure that your vote is counted. And it's easy like that. And we're happy to help you. We have a voter hub section of our website that goes over details of how to request your mail-in ballot for the election. So the primary is on June 19th, and the general election is November 8th. So please make sure that you're reminding those dates and encouraging folks to be able to get out and vote, make a vote plan, get registered or update their voter registration if they need to, so that they can participate in this election. Our primary elections are really where we choose our representatives in Montgomery County, which is overwhelmingly Democratic. The Democratic primary is where we select those leaders who most often go on and win in the general election and represent us for 4 years on the council. So it's important what happens in this general election. It's important who runs, who we support, who we help get out the word about. And so we're glad you're here getting the opportunity to learn about Brandi, and I hope that you're motivated to support her. For the at-large seats, which will be on the ballot, you can vote for up to 4 candidates for your at-large representative. Okay, we'll just mute that, sorry. So you can vote for up to 4 candidates. As I mentioned, there are new districts. So here's the new districts that we have. And you can see if you're a Rockville resident, you're right there in 3. Rockville and Gaithersburg are in that area. And then other folks, parts of Tacoma Park is all in 4. Our East County now has their primary district, and will have a representative in 5. So lots of great locations. So please check out the map and find out what new district you are, and learn about the candidates who are running in the district seats. Because that, again, as Janet mentioned, and Virginia, we want a council that reflects us. And it's not just who gets elected in the at-large seats, but also who we elect in the district seat. And you have the power to elect 5 members to the council, because you have your 4 at-large votes and your 1 vote for your district representative. So that's a really important vote, and we encourage you to learn more about the candidates running for at-large and for in your district. So that's the background. We have an amazing, diverse county. We have lots of different folks who are represented from rural, urban, and suburban areas. And we need folks who are really going to talk about those issues. And that's why I'm going to pass it on to Brandi to really talk about the issues that are impacting our county and things that she's focusing on. So I'm going to stop sharing and pass it on to you, Brandi.
Great. Hi, everyone. Thank you, Virginia. Thank you, Carol. Thank you, Janet. And thank you, Michelle and Trupti. It is outstanding to have such an amazing team of people that I get to work with as we build this campaign to really put people first and to make sure that the way that policy and politics works in Montgomery County really serves us all. I am Brandi Brooks. I use she, her pronouns. I am a renter who lives in Kensington. I am a housing justice activist and organizer, and environmental justice and racial equity consultant. That's my day job. And I am so excited to be running for Montgomery County Council at Large. I'm also really glad to have all of you here for this evening's meet and greet. And one of the things I say to folks so much is that I love meet and greets because they're this incredible opportunity to actually have direct conversations, for us as residents with the people who want to represent us, and then for candidates with the folks that we want to be part of our movement, part of our backers, and actually really want to learn from and to understand what are the issues and challenges facing our county, what are the dreams and visions that we have for our county, and how do we get there together? And for me, this ties in a lot to a concept that I think about when I think about the training and education work that I do. I've been teaching and TAing and doing training for about 25 years now, actually. And over the course of time, I've become really excited about a framework for education called popular education. And the number one thing about popular education is that it changes the model that most of us are used to when we think about education, which is that you have someone in the front of the room who's supposed to be the expert, providing their knowledge and wisdom to a bunch of other people who are supposed to be the learners. And we see this all the time in the way that classrooms are structured from the time that we are very young all the way up through various levels of higher education. And the challenge with that model is that it assumes that only one person in the room, or maybe a handful of people if you have co-teachers, actually has the knowledge. But in popular education, you switch to a different framework, which is really about understanding the wisdom in the room in its fullness. It's about recognizing that we all have the ability to be both teachers and learners, that we all need to be both teachers and learners, and really structuring the way that we think about education or training in a very different way, so that instead of only having one channel and one direction for sharing our knowledge and experience, we can create a much more robust exchange of our experiences, of the things that we've learned, of our skill sets, of our ideas and visions, all of the things that really help all of us grow. And that's the approach that I take when I think about running for county council. It's about the wisdom in the room. I joke with people often at these meet and greets that I have just one brain, and I like my brain. It's a pretty good brain. It does a lot of great things for me, but it's only one. And we have a county of over 1 million people. My one brain is not going to have all the solutions. Even 11 brains on the county council are not going to have all the solutions for our great, big, beautiful, diverse county. We are not going to understand everything about the nuances of what's going on in people's lives, about what the particular issues are that they're facing when they're trying to live or raise and care for their families, or go to work, or go to school, or go out and play and enjoy themselves. In order for us to understand what policy needs to look like in Montgomery County when it comes to housing, or when it comes to transportation, when it comes to our economy, when it comes to education, and so much more, we have to make sure that we are doing politics and that we are doing policy development in a way that truly draws on and respects the incredible, unbelievable amount of wisdom and knowledge and experience that we possess here in Montgomery County. We often talk about the diversity of Montgomery County as this asset, but I think, that can sometimes just be a catchphrase that just gets thrown around without really understanding what that means. Diversity isn't just an amenity. Diversity is people. Diversity is all of us and the different ways that we come to this. Diversity is the fact that there are amazing people who come from a wide variety of racial and ethnic backgrounds, and that a majority of our county is made up of folks who are people of color, who have had a wide variety of experiences, including an understanding of what things like structural racism and racial inequity look like and how we solve it. It's a recognition that 30% of the folks who live here in Montgomery County were born outside of the United States. And so they have a powerful understanding of different cultures, different frameworks, different ways of doing things when it comes to policy and systems and the way that we can live together and the way that we can have conversations together. It's understanding that nearly 40% of our county rents our homes. So when we talk about what housing policy looks like, it's not solely about home ownership as the only way that people can live and thrive in Montgomery County. It's about recognizing that we have such a diverse range of types of communities, urban communities, suburban and exurban communities, rural and agricultural communities, and that each one of these is a part of the ecosystem of Montgomery County. And when we want to think about the health and thriving of our county, we need to think about every single part of it and how we work together. I like to speak a lot in metaphors or, parables. If you happen to come from the Christian tradition, but it's all about stories. The way that we talk to each other as humans is about telling stories. And so one of the stories that I use and the frameworks that I use to talk about this is to think about our bodies. If one part of our body is in pain or doesn't feel well, we don't just sort of say, okay, my body's mostly healthy, it's fine, and I don't need to pay attention to that. We recognize that pain or that illness, we recognize that when our body is trying to tell us that something is wrong, that you have to attend to it, because if we don't, it gets worse and worse. It makes it harder and harder for us to function and do the things that we want to thrive. And truly, if unattended, it will cause severe sickness and death. And so when we think about the body as a metaphor for our county, what we have to understand is that our county as a whole can't be healthy if every part of it and if all of those who live in it aren't actually supported to thrive. And this means that whether we are talking about folks who live in East County or West County, Down County or Up County, whatever age or race or gender that you are, that if we are not paying attention to one another, then we are not going to understand what it truly takes to ensure Montgomery County thrives. And that is particularly important when we talk about seniors in our county, because I think that's one of the places where the wisdom in the room has special and critical significance. In many, many cultures, seniors, our elders, are deeply respected and held and revered for the fact that their decades of life experience have so much to teach us about both where we've been as a society and a culture, where we are in this present moment and how to understand it, and what our possibilities are for the future. But unfortunately, in the United States, we live in a culture where our value, for all of us, our value as humans, based on this false notion of productivity. This idea that it's just kind of what you churn out, how many widgets you produce, how many documents, how many things you do. That's the count of whether or not you matter. And one of the things that results is that for our seniors, if folks aren't working, if they aren't continuing to be part of this churning out things in the economy, we tend to write folks off. We tend to isolate folks. We tend to stop listening to their voices and stop caring and really supporting them. And we do a deep disservice to them as members of our community, but also to ourselves when we disrespect the wisdom in the room. One of the things I love about getting to talk with my mom is that my mom is always teaching me. So, hopefully all of us know that it doesn't matter how old you get, your parents are always teaching you. And I talk with my mom a lot about what the particular things are that she has experienced throughout her life, and also what are the particular things that she experiences now as a senior living in Montgomery County. What the particular opportunities and barriers are when it comes to finding safe housing that she can afford that's also accessible. What the struggles and challenges are as someone, as with so many seniors, whose retirement and longevity we haven't actually supported economically, and who still has to either figure out how to live on a fixed income that doesn't cover the full budget, or figure out how to continue to work and face age discrimination in our economy. We talk about how the healthcare system treats our seniors, doesn't listen, ignores folks, shunts folks off into corners. And even though we've figured out all these different ways to extend life, we haven't actually thought very much about what it means to support people in quality of life over the long term. And I'm so grateful that I have that wisdom in my life and in the room when we talk about the campaign. Because it's one of the ways that I make sure that when I'm making policy around housing, when I'm making policy around the environment or transportation, when I'm making policy around what it looks like to have a dignified economy that supports workers, that I remember the stories and the experiences that my mom has shared with me. And so one of the reasons that I was super excited to have this series of events, besides, of course, celebrating my awesome mom and my awesome campaign co-chair and so many other wonderful folks that I've gotten to meet in Montgomery County, is because I want to make sure that we are centering senior voices in the way that we talk about policy and centering our health and well-being through every stage of our lives here. That we are talking about what it means to age in place well in Montgomery County, that we are talking about what it means to have an effective transportation system, that whether you drive or not, whether you can walk or not, whether you can see or not, regardless of how your breathing works, that you can get around and feel safe and supported and respected when you do that. What does it look like for us to have communities where we're not segregating ourselves by age? You know, where we're not saying only these folks over here and only these folks over there, but we're saying we want to continue to learn from one another and support one another. These are the kind of things that I want us to infuse in our policy. And one of the things that I want to recognize as we talk about this is that seniors have always been one of the most incredible and reliable voting bases in every election. But it's not just enough for us to rely on seniors for their vote and not listen to seniors about the things that they tell us are important and the things that they tell us that we need to pay attention to. We do that with too many communities. We do that with communities of color. We say, come out and vote, but we're not going to talk to you. We do that with women. We say, come out and vote, but we're not going to support you in terms of policy that actually protects and advances your life. And we do it with seniors. And we need to stop. And one of the reasons I'm so excited about getting to do this campaign is that we have the opportunity, and I have an amazing team around me that is deeply committed to figuring out how we do politics differently, how we do politics in a way that where we go out and we don't just say, well, I'm going to wait to see who comes here and that'll tell me whether or not they care, but we actually go out and say, I'm going to make sure that I'm getting to go to all the places where I know there are amazing people in our county, which is everywhere, and have that opportunity to talk with them. I'm going to make sure we're at their doors. I'm going to make sure we're making phone calls. I'm going to make sure we're writing postcards. I'm going to make sure we're having meet and greets. Because we want to create the space where as many people across this county as possible have the opportunity to understand what's going on in our local elections, which are so critical. And to view them not simply as an opportunity to support some elected official over there who we cross our fingers and hope will do right by us, but an opportunity to actually build a relationship where we can have ongoing accountability, ongoing engagement, ongoing participation in our own governance, because that's what democracy actually is. And so I'm really excited to have all of you here to be able to talk about what are the things on your heart and mind, what are the things that you've experienced, what are the visions that you have for our community, and how do we get to work together to build an amazing, thriving future for our amazing, beautiful county. So thanks so much. I hope you'll continue. You'll start to put questions in the Q&A in the chat so we can go to that for Q&A. And again, I'm so, so thankful to have each and every one of you here tonight.